champion. I'm supporting Glasgow's bid for the 2018 Youth Olympic Games.
I'm Michael Jameson, I'm a champion in my life and I support Glasgow's bid to host the Youth Olympic Games in 2018.
Hi, I'm Neil Fahy, I'm a Paralympic champion and I'm a champion in my life and I'm backing Glasgow 2018.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and I'm a champion in my lifetime and I'm supporting the Glasgow 2018 Youth Olympic bid.
Hello and good afternoon from the International Swimming Centre at Tollcross in Glasgow, and it's a warm welcome to a historic moment as Quipu TV's live coverage of the Scottish Gas National Swimming Championships gets into the second session. A historic moment for Scottish swimming. Over the next few days we'll bring you the action from all of the sessions. I'm Drew Gordon and I'm joined today by Andrew Mayer, former international swimmer. We look forward to getting a lot of his views and his insights to swimmers and the programmes, but your opinions are just as important. You can tweet us using the hashtag SGN13Live. That's SGN13Live. And we'll try to read out the best of your messages. There's also a picture competition under the hashtag SGN13Pix, P-I-X. And if you enter, there are prizes, so, get those cameras working. Coverage of this event is brought to you by good sponsorship from Scottish Gas and Scottish Swimming, and we're grateful to them and to the commercial partners for all their support of Scottish swimming, especially as we head towards next year's Commonwealth Games. Andrew, just some quick reflections on the beginning of this meet and where it lies in the programme?
Yeah, it's been a great morning session and looking forward to seeing how this afternoon session now progresses that forward. And obviously we're into June now, so we're into the summer racing, so a lot of the guys, they're getting ready to really swim fast, looking towards maybe the British nationals for some of the guys, maybe some internationals for some of the bigger guys who are racing. But all in all, great time to be starting to swim quick, so we should be able to see some good stuff tonight.
You think the swims were fast enough this morning? I mean, the structure, of course, is that the faster heats are in the morning session, the slightly slower heats from the same events are in the afternoon, and then the finals and B-finals at night. Do you think it was fast enough this morning?
I think there were some good, solid swims put in this morning, but I think there's still some great opportunities for the guys that are swimming now to really get involved and maybe get some second swims. So nothing's sewn up, and these guys have got a lane, they've got a chance.
Yeah, that's the one thing, isn't it? If you got to be in to win, and if you're here and prepared, then you never know what might happen. We start off with the women's 100 butterfly for session 2, followed by the 100 freestyle event, always exciting. The women's 200, which has been very cagey, but good racing. The men's 200 breaststroke, nothing too spectacular this morning, but good strong swimming. Then a couple of 50s, the backstroke and the butterfly, and then we have the women's 400 IM, their tough event, and that's the programme for this afternoon. A shortish session, and remember, you can tweet us, you can see the photos from here on flickr.com /photos/Scottish Swimming. Second session just about to start. It's a women's 100 fly. There are 4 events. Sorry, 4 heats rather of this event in the women's 100 fly. It looks as if everybody's here for this session. Youngsters getting a chance. Those who have made the qualifying time. We have 13-year-old Katie Smith in the first swim. Emma Mason Stirling, Jennifer Ward North Lanark, Erin Cooper West Lothian, Megan Field South Aberdeen, Lindsay McInnes Coast, Erin Cummins Perth City, and Katie Smith East Lothian. Top of your picture is lane 0 in this 10-lane pool. The nearest lane to the camera is mostly lane 9. And of course the 4 and 5 bounded by the now hopefully familiar golden anti-turbulence lanes. Women's 100 fly.
towards these guys and the ones who wanting to try and make that swim back for tonight. They want to be trying to aim to beat a 106.79 is the time that would get them into the B final. Anything quicker than that would get them a second swim in either that or respectively the A final. So that's the marker. These girls all in on a 1 minute 12, so let's see how they fare through this first swim.
Yeah, a bit tough of an ask to get to 106s, but good competitive effort there in lane 3. Erin Cooper, 16-year-old West Lothian swimmer, heading up this first heat. Breathing every stroke except the last. I'm sure for the 100 she could get her head down and really stroke into that finish, Andrew.
Yeah, that was a good strong finish and a good PB there.
Top time 1:11.94 then. 1:11.09, my mistake. Heat 2 then, readying. Now, a little bit of seeding going on in as Holiday in from Elgin at 109.58. That's in lane 4. At this stage, teenagers, youngsters, you can see that the stroke technique looks very good, but there's just not the power of if you compare it to the top athletes in the world. And of course, with athletes lasting longer in the sport and competing until they're even into their 30s, you can see the difference between girls swimming or youth swimming and senior swimming. But good technique is where it's all based on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and especially on butterfly, we really want to see the hips high as well, so the technique running right the way through and seeing that dolphin movement running right through the body. So always want to see the hips breaking the water, flowing right through the stroke.
So lane 2 then, really strong swim, looks diminutive, very light in the water, but very competitive. Head down the last 3 strokes, nice finish in 108.94. And Georgia Calendar from O'Gyan Bearsden taking that 108.94. And it's 11s and 12s that crowd the top of the results from that heat. Heat 3 of the 4 this afternoon lined up. Full house under starters command. You can probably see an over-the-top starting process. That's just to help the meet roll along. Not waiting for swimmers to exit the water, but they have to get out quite quickly. Good start in lane 1, Amy Richardson of Ulverston. Good drive. Hands turned out. Sometimes that can help the entry, but it does put a big strain on the elbows. Strikes the wall first in 32.1. Amy Richardson then of Ulverston, 15 years of age. The middle of the pool with some faster entries on 109s, just not holding it at the moment. It's a good race there with a whole group, about 6 swimmers across the middle of the pool, 25 to go. And this is key now as they drive to the finish, Andrew.
Definitely, yeah, definitely now, because with the hands pointed out like that, we've got to make sure that they keep the range, the stroke's still entering at that top point.
Well, nice length on the finish, touching the pad, 108.74. So it looks like a nice little time for Amy Richardson, entered on 1:11. The fabulously refurbed pool here at Tollcross, proving to be just as fast as ever. Some great swims here over the years of its lifetime, and ready for more, of course, in a year's time with the Commonwealth Games. Final heat. of heats are at the second half of the same event. The top half, the faster time, swam this morning. But this is their chance. Beautiful pool, nice facilities. The national championships, the Scottish Gas Championships, some of, obviously, this is their major target of the year, so it's all to do. Lane number 8, Alison Henderson, just losing a little bit of ground on the first 50 to the race. 5 or 6 swimmers very close again on that 32 mark.
So they're all in a line as they come up through this second half. Now it's really anybody's at the moment. Seeing some different styles of techniques, but we've got to make sure that the legs are still driving us forward.
It's always a difficult action for the average citizen. Being able to do the butterfly is always a big challenge. Well, here's just some easy models, the nice flexible shoulders and nice hip action there, bringing them home again in a 108, crowding in on that particular time. Out in 32, back in 36. Basic conditioning for age groupers.
And a real close finish between 1 and 2 there, just 1/100th of a second, just showing how important it is to really get into the wall and spot that finish.
Lanes 2 and 6 taking first and second with that 100 difference. Then it's out to 9s and 10s. Again, heat 4 a little faster, but nothing approaching the 6s from this morning. So that concludes the 2013 100 metre butterfly for women, consigned to the record books. And we turn our attention to the men's 100 freestyle. 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds coming into this first heat. All on the 57 mark. 6 100s covering the 6 swimmers in the field. So this could be a really good race if they all just swim to form. We have 4 heats again of the men's 100 freestyle. Some younger men, 1 or 2 20-year-olds, and getting into the sort of 56s, 57s, where this morning we were looking at just a little bit faster. But a lot of people holding back this morning. First swim, of course, the stiffness of training and the difference between that and racing having its effect on the times, I think.
Yeah, definitely agree, and understandably so, training can take its effect, but that opens the doors for these guys to now really put in a performance and maybe sneak a spot tonight.
Very good discipline and control at the start there. Different standing and crouching positions, but absolutely motionless, waiting on the starting signal. The response time, the reaction time, a little bit high, but that's what you'd expect from the youngsters.
Yeah, these blocks obviously take a bit of getting used to. Some of these guys, it may be the first time they're diving off it. These new blocks have got the wedges, which are movable at the back, so it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, not in every club in the land, are they? They're only for the major championships at the moment.
Indeed.
But it's made a big difference. So, deciding that he's not going to run with the pack. Lane number 2, Matthew Bullough of Carnegie. Always very strong, aggressive and competitive, the swimmers from Carnegie over the years. And slots it in. 56, sorry, Scott McClay from Perth City, taking it 56.32. So everybody watching that, a good time. Nice little personal best on the 100 freestyle is always good to see. Second of the 4 heats. Ian Phillips, Will Singham, Fraser Spooner, Alec Forsyth, Ross McCafferty in 4 with that 56.1. Dean Strachan, Gregor Birrell, Cameron Finlayson, Matthew Anderson and Jack Schranek from Carnegie on 57.5 in lane 9. The Schranek family swam well this morning, so a little bit of pressure on the brother.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a bit of family rivalry, definitely not.
Good out the turns, first to break in lane 4. Ross McCafferty. Good leg kick. Head in good position. A little bit short on the reach, but well, you would expect that a little bit from the sprinters, making sure they do get a good catch. Head down on the last 5 strokes and takes it to 55.40. Well, he certainly snapped up that opportunity in the afternoon swims. Good motivation, saying I'm getting the touch. 57.1, I'm not sure why, that'll be lane 1, of course. The results just a little bit too quick for us to give it to you. Heat 3 then. We've got Anthony Ebbets from Bolton Metro. They come from all over to these championships. And Toby Douglas in 0 from Eyemouth. So bottom of the country, top of the country, and one would say abroad. Ebbets is out, deciding not to swim. A very slow turn in lane 7 and taking his chance. It's lane 5 and 6 then, Andrew.
Yeah.
Who's your money on?
I'm going to say Callum Shaw. I'm going to go lane 6.
Callum, Edinburgh University, the homeboy, City of Glasgow's Ian Porteous. And it looks as though you're right, Callum Shaw.
Real strong effort on that one, and just missing the time for a second swim there. Guys are really needing to break under 54.36 to make it back for tonight, so he was just a couple of hundredths shy of that, so a shame on that one. Got very close to coming back tonight. The opportunities are there if you get out after it.
Shaw 54.58. So heat number 4. So no swimmer in lane 1. I never understand why they don't bring the 0 lane into 1. I mean, you know, today's technology, that should be possible. That guy's swimming not on his own, but he's got a gap.
Yeah, he's in no man's land out there. You're right. It would be a lot more use to him if he could just come across one lane.
Well, it's a bright 50 in lane 6. Feet to the wall in 26.5. He's holding it on the way back. Bit of a wild stroke there in 5.
Yeah, it looks promising though. He's still holding it together very well.
So you can see the lungs bursting, trying to keep the tempo up. The legs, well, they're needed here. They can contribute to that speed. And a nice long finish, fast, head down, good registering, 54.94. 26.5, 28.3 back. Good stuff. 54.94. Then a 56.08 from Park. Lauder with a 56.36. That's the top 3 in the final heat of the men's 100 freestyle. Now we can just draw breath a little bit as the women come in for the 200 freestyle. 3 heats left in this event from all the entries, and of course the pool being cleared of the men give the ladies every facility. 8 swimmers in the first heat, so it's lanes 1 to 8, almost like a normal competitive meet. 10 lane, but using the middle 8. The ladies, you can see them a little bit anxious to get underway. The 15 in this heat, needing to get a bit of practice on those blocks. Some were scrunched up there and fell into the pool, you know.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice to make sure that you've got the back wedge at the right position, because obviously you can have it really close to the front, or you can put it right up to the back of the block. So it's all about the preference of what's going to get you the best power with that back leg. And obviously your foot position is a lot different to how it would normally be on a track start. So really got to kind of get your head around that. So always worth practicing stuff like that in the warm-up, so you're really ready to go come race time.
So 3 heats, a little bit of seeding going on, so you expect the lead to come from the centre of the pool, and it's well, it's a nice set out here by Jennifer Davis of Edinburgh University. Not the tallest of swimmers, very quick round the turn, good underwater phase, the low only out to 5 metres. Slightly smaller swimmer, really putting in a very good set of technical and artistic actions there. Already we've got in lane 7 Rachel Donnell just losing the race a little bit. Got to try and, as far as you can, stay with some of the pace, even if it's across the pool. But you can see that nothing's going to trouble the leader here. She's set out a stall early. Nice strong swim off the turn, and you can see the blast coming in for the last 50.
Yeah, looking really strong, and right you are with the work on the turns. Looking really compact, really nice and tight, and really bringing this home now.
So the entry time, 2:14.8. And just a little bit of work. The legs have gone a little bit. There's just a tiny little flutter at the back, almost like a 400 swimmer, but it's 2:10 at the end.
Now that's a fantastic swim there, Drew, because that'll earn herself a place in the B final for later this evening. So that's fantastic swimming.
Okay, well done, Jennifer. Little smile there, a little knowledgeable, rueful smile across to the coach and the team. 2:10 for first place, Pitts in second with 2:16, and Vout 2:17 flat. Hannah Vout from O'Gyan Bearsden, third place in the first of the 3 heats. Well, one swimmer deciding to stand and go all the way down to the marks position. The others crouched in just a small movement. Just different interpretation, different preference, and all perfectly acceptable. Lane 5. Alex Cunningham, East Lothian, out very hard. Now the 200 at this level and at this stage in their development does put a little bit of test on their strategy and how they deal with that 200 conditioning package. Going out too hard.
Yeah, like we said earlier on, the pacing on a 200 is very important to get right. So they've got to make sure that this first half they really get out there after the race, but they've got enough in them to be able to solidly swim through the second half. And trying to get that spot on is tough for swimmers. You'll normally find that it'll take them a few swims to really understand their own pacing and their own bodies within that. But so far we've got 2 swimmers near the middle of the pool swimming very well, with Lexi Waller in lane 8 swimming very well as well. So good battle on our hands right now.
Yeah, this is the problem of the seeded heats. Often you are separated from the race, and you know all swimmers who come to competition just love to race and love to have somebody beside them to push them into unknown territory, perhaps. Both turning 1/100, splitting them at the 3/4 mark. Cunningham and Smith 1 and 2. Cunningham in 5 in the yellow bounded lanes. Cara Smith in lane 6. 25 to go, just a little edge perhaps to Cunningham, but it's not over yet. Digging in, having a look look underwater, checking it, head down, big breath. Last 4 or 5 strokes. Nope, it's breathing all the way.
Breathing all the way.
2:14s. So it just shows you that that 2:10 was a very good swim from Heat 1. Cunningham and Smith 2:14. The end of the day, it's 4/10ths separating them, but it looked a lot more on the visual, I'm sure. But that can often happen. It's just the speed they're travelling at, that physical gap in arms and lengths just closes very quickly, especially at the end of the race. Final heat then, women's 200 metres freestyle. Fastest time 2:14.6, entered by Lafferty in 4. Lafferty, a very stylish starting position with the elbows out and, you know, very clean. Now the field knows exactly what they have to do. They've already seen a 2:10 that's possible from this opportunity in the afternoon. Fiona Ingalls, Midlothian, Erin Cummins, Perth, Ailsa Beck, South Aberdeen, Lizzie Cleland from the Borders, Jenna Lafferty from First, the Falkirk area, Olivia Jackson splits the first swimmers with Chanel Snedden in lane 6, Caitlin Hamilton, East Lothian in 7, and Sophia Green from Elgin in lane 8. The excitement, the adrenaline kicking in on the first 50 makes that, and the start of course makes that slightly faster. You're trying to hold maybe 2 similar 50s in the middle and then bring it back a little bit harder with that extra sprint finish at the end. Let's see how they do. 65 and a half at the halfway mark.
It's going to be really tough for them to try and come back in almost a negative split to try and make a second swim tonight. So really, we just want to keep our eyes on their personal best times, around about 2:14s and 2:15s, and see if they can get in amongst a good swim.
Yeah, you might quickly tell the folks what negative split means for all our newcomers.
No problems for those guys out there. A negative split is in a 200 or anything of a distance like that. It's where your second half of the swim is faster than your first half. Okay, so you've almost brought it back a lot quicker than what you went out at in. So for these guys here going out in say a 110, they would have to be coming back in a 109.
Well, the race is for second place because that lovely, easy technique reminds me a lot of, you know, a number of 200 swimmers and 400 swimmers. Beautiful technique there from Snedden. 2:13, 65 at the split, so you can see what happens. 65, 68. Not bad conditioning for the 200, but you'd expect it to get a little bit closer and then move each one down as you gain strength and fitness and understand your swim a little better. 2:14 in second place to Lafferty, and Jackson took third in a close finish with Cleland. 2:15s. So the afternoon programme rolls on to the men's 200 metres breaststroke. We have 3 heats, and we're coming down to a 2:46. And this is the level of performance that we're at. It's still the national championships. It's every opportunity to perhaps make a B final, but the swim's out at 2:46s, and you know, these are just top age group times really. Well, first to the water, but last to rise. The swimmer in the red hat of Warrender, Simon McDonald, and losing ground off the start to the field. You can see that this event, which shows the most variation across the technique, already has that in front of you, with in lane 2 a very flat stroke, and then water, or slow underwater. Simon McDonald with a nice high lift on the stroke. 200 breaststroke, tough on the legs.
Yeah, this stroke, it really takes a lot of power from the legs to really drive you forwards. As we're watching these strokes, you can see the force from the legs, and it's really important to have those flat feet that really drive you forwards. This is a great opening half, and we're going to see very shortly what this 100-meter split is for Gregor, and see how he sets his stall out here.
Through in a 1:17.34, you can record that, of course, and just have a look at the comparison between first half, second half. Measure of conditioning usually.
So with the 200 breaststroke, we normally see a pause right up at the top of the stroke. Normally on the 100 or the 50, it's a very continuous arm stroke that'll keep going around, but on the 200 you'll see a nice pause just up at the top as we wait for the legs to really drive us forward so the arms are out in that streamlined position. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how we round off this swim now.
Three heats of the men's 200 breaststroke. Remember, you can Twitter at SGN13Live and text your friends at Scotswim Live or the www.scottishswimming.com/index/live for the actual Scottish Swimming YouTube channel. Join us, tell them to come and join the party. Day one underway. 4 days of swimming here at this wonderful Tollcross facility. This is session 2, men's 200 breaststroke. Gregor Swinney through in a 1:17, entered on a 2:47 and goes 2:46.73. So it looks as though he's at this stage he's taken training and come and just maybe gone under his personal best time. .246, 2 on the 250 mark. Remember, we're looking at the second part of the swim section. 4 or 5 heats this morning from the faster swimmers, already setting the stall for A and B finals, provided nobody beats those times from here.
So a really quick reaction off the start for lane 3 there, which is Liam Buchanan. Really, what, 0.57 off the block, which is a great react to the start. So sets him up really nicely as we go down this first opening 50.
Good reactions to the start. However, for 200 breaststroke, it's not as critical as a 50, but it's good that he's obviously focused and ready for his race. And again, across the pool, you can just see that the 15-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 16-year-olds, they're just struggling with the, the physical characteristics of their own bodies, the technique of breaststroke, and of course, being able to judge the pace for the 200. Over the years, of course, Scotland has produced some of the best 200 breaststrokers that we have known in world swimming, and the history books are full of those. And I'm not going to ask the question because it's too easy an answer. So good lead out then, taking his chance, forgetting everybody else, working on his own race. And that's Craig Knight of the first squad.
really interesting stroke he's got again here, Drew. We're seeing that really leg driven again on this stroke. Arms are circling round and driving forwards, but not a great deal of propulsion that we're seeing coming from the arms. So again, really interesting to see just how these strokes can differ as we go through this event.
Yeah, the arms are pressing down a little bit, aren't they, at the front of the stroke? That's why he's getting that lift, the shoulders coming clean out of the water. And of course, the timing of the leg kick has to be absolutely spot on so that you're catching the weight as it drops as well, just helping the body to drive forward against that, you know, tremendous resistance of the water. Well, he's held his competitive edge. He's driven in 240.9. He's in on 247.4. So, a very tired finish there in lane 7 from Connor Searle of North Lanark. And just behind him then, completing the event over there in 1. And it's Knight with a 240 that heads it up. Balfour on 246, Mitchell on 250. The 1, 2 and 3 from the middle heat of the 3 breaststroke. Well, a grandstand finish to the men's 200 breaststroke. Ross Burns, South Lanark. Stuart Gomez of Aberdeen. Peter Holmes, Geary. Fraser Ross, City of Glasgow in his home pool. Neil McRoberts, Warrender. David McDonald, West Lothian. Callum Mitchell first. Oscar Held of Elgin. They're in for this final swim in the men's 200 breaststroke. And we've got ages ranging from 14 up to 17. So it's an age group race within the championships. They've qualified for these championships. That's a big scalp in its own. And then here, a chance to shine in front of a small crowd, of course. I'm sure parents, friends and supporters. Hopefully there'll be a better turnout for the evening finals and a little bit more atmosphere for the swimmers. But well, that's what you have to face if you're at that part in the event. And you've got to make your own atmosphere.
That's very true. And it's exactly right what you're saying. For a lot of the swimmers that are swimming this afternoon, making this championship is a great step forward on their swimming career. And it's something that they can now build on and they can take forward. This is a lot different to swimming a club championship event or even a regional championship event. To come to a national event and swim against the rest of the country, it's quite a daunting thing. So for these guys to stand up, swim some best times, that's a real credit to themselves.
So we have Warrender's Niall McRoberts just biding his time, starting to cut down the lead from the lane 4 Fraser Ross, City of Glasgow. Ross very low in the water compared to the more slightly built Niall McRoberts as they drive to the 3/4 mark. And it might be that if Ross turns the right way, he's going to see that he's got a challenge. He's up, driving the hands under the water. And the Warrender man trying very hard to get on his shoulder. There's a race for the 3rd place across the pool, but it's really down to Fraser Ross. It's a long time since I've seen somebody just so much submerged in the water.
That's very true, yeah, very low in the water there. So 2 total contrasting strokes here. And it's looking like Niall's just going to overhaul him in this final part.
Yeah, he looks lighter and brighter. He's got the tempo. Fraser Ross did the early work, but it's got to be hard swimming against that load of water in front of you. Very, one would call it an old-fashioned stroke, but it's his interpretation, and you give him that respect, but just that little bit low in the water. Oh, race complete, and it was McRoberts of Warrender, 2:45.9. And a little bit of discussion on technique and turns. And, the world is talking about the possible change in laws to the breaststroke turn and the undulating movement. But even the interpretation at the moment, the results are up, but certainly one qualification, if not two. They've just left it there. 2:45.9. Stopped the first man, Niall McRoberts of Warrender Baths. 2:45.9. Good swim from him. Then on 2:47, and well, the men for the breaststroke go as people scrutinise the results to see if the disqualifications will be listed. And they're holding that to themselves at the moment, because the pool is now being turned around for the women's 50-metre backstroke event, moving to the turn end for the start of the 50. It's now confirmed. Lanes 1 and 2, Messrs Burns and Gomez disqualified. So sad end to their championships, but well, good experience, and maybe a review and a reflection will just make them better swimmers the next time round, better athletes. The next event up then, and of course with the short 50, a slightly higher entry, and we'll have 8 heats moving down to the 33s. We were talking this morning about the barrier of 30 seconds for women's 50 backstroke, and really still quite difficult even for some of the best swimmers to get under 30. And here we're down to 33. We're starting round about the 35, 36. So you can just imagine that between the 33.1 and 36.1, 3 seconds covering 8 heats of swimmers. So very tight finishes, hopefully, on some of these. A little better racing will give a little more atmosphere, and maybe turn this, slightly down atmosphere in the afternoon. Of course, not so many athletes, not so many parents and supporters, and sometimes that's what it needs. It just needs a bit of cheering and a bit of shouting, and, a little bit of excitement for the swimmers. Heat 1 then underway, 50 backstroke.
Yeah, obviously I'm ready for whenever you start your cheering as well, Drew. I'll get involved and support the same. But these guys, as they go down the backstroke, let's see how fast they can get through this. Really crucial to work so hard off the start, and it's all about spotting the finish. We saw this morning swimmers were split by hundredths of seconds, so the finish is going to be crucial.
Well, absolutely. Under the flags, do you count your strokes? Do you just guess it? Where are you? What kind of preparation? A 35.40 for first place to Nicole Amato of the city of Glasgow. Doughty in second place with a 35.50 time, and of course with the 50s they're just speeding on with the races. So a good start in terms of racing. No swimmer in 5 on this occasion. Lara Seville seems to be out for South Ayrshire. Just quickly checking the pool for you. The swimmer has to lift themselves upwards and forwards to give pressure on the pad of the foot to stay on the timing pad. All the force is going downwards, of course, with the weight. You can't stay up there too long. That's why the backstroke start, generally is a little bit quicker. A nice bright start from lane 4. Samantha Simpson, South Lanark. Nice attack on this. She's going to have some company at the end of the race as they go under the flags. Samantha holding on, counting the strokes, making the judgment. A little bit short on the left arm finish, but it's victory for the South Lanarkshire swimmer. 34.34. looks like a good time, Andrew.
Yeah, we're looking at some of these guys swimming a lot quicker than their entry time, so hopefully that they're all PBs whenever they're swimming quicker than these times, which is always your aim whenever you want to race.
Women's 50 backstroke. The third heat of 8 now readying. Long whistle into the water. No swimmer in lane 4. Kiara Peters from Highland Group. Not making it out this afternoon. Let's hope there's no big problems for Kiara. Now you have to turn those arms over very quickly, but if you go too quickly you slip water, so you actually don't get a hold on the medium and being able to push the body over that hand. Difficult stroke in the back position, the supine position of the body. It's the weakest position, of course. It's a nice steady stroke to the finish. And lane 3 taking her chance. Abigail Mason, South Aberdeen, lifting herself up to see the giant scoreboard. And that 33.44, well, that signals a much improved time for the Aberdonian.
Quite a cautious finish there as well. So yeah, definite points to be able to further improve on as well, which is always good.
You make a good point, because it's the 14-year-old, isn't it? It's the experience and the power, and you know, so the finish and the swim looks very light, you know, and fluffy.
Yeah.
Moving on then, halfway mark, heat 4. Full line up. In here in lane 4, Emma Scully of North Ayrshire, a 12-year-old, has a 34.91. So let's see if she can hold off these older teenagers. Already giving away a little bit at the start. Emma, feet out the water. Good drive from lane 6, Lauren McCain, North Lanark. And in lane 5, Beth Constant separating them. Might get the touch, but she's bouncing along there, and that's how important this finish is. That time will be very close, 34.24 to 34.26. That's the split between first and second in that heat 4. McCain took it, Constant second, Hartley third with a 34.75.
On the finish then again, Drew, it's so important to make sure that you really get that spot on, get that hand onto the wall, really drive with the legs. So crucial on a 50.
Building nicely. 34s, 35s, bringing their times down to what their entry times are. Maybe on a 50 you're only going to improve it marginally, so you know, it's just important to do all the right things at the right time. Mulgyan Bearsden's Georgia Lynch in 4 with a 34.5, but the whole field on 34 point. It's only the hundreds that separate them, but that could have come from very different competitions and swims. They will be in line at the finish. It'll be a very, very key finish. Nice swim in 0 from Olivia Reid of Aberdeen, just looking to have the edge on the stars in the centre. Lane 5, Ainsley Wright of South Lanark, coming fast, but it's 0. Lane 0, 33.76. Nice swim, Olivia, with a 34.9 entry time. 33.76, 34.12, 34.31 for the first 1, 2 and 3 from that heat. Heat 5 of the 8 on the programme.
Really starting to get into these quicker times again now as we're getting through this event. So these these next 3 heats. Really interesting to watch, see how close they can get to how fast the girls went this morning.
So all Summers in for heat 6. "16-year-old Hannah Juric of Warner, 33.2. Again, starting to get faster, starting to get closer. And these Summers, much more attuned to racing. Cross the pool. Good to have a nice steady head, a long steel rod down the middle of the body. The backward rotation is mechanically weak, so you really need to have a good, strong core of the body. Nice finish here. Oh, lovely finish from lane 3, Lexi Waller, Heart of Midlothian. Good pace at the end, nice acceleration. A 32.85, Andrew. How does that sit?
We're looking for a 32.43 or quicker to get us back for swims tonight. So so that would get us into the B final. So just a few tenths of a second off there, but it just shows it's all to play for.
Good swim from Hannah then. Not from Hannah, from Lexi. Yeah. Okay, heat 7, the penultimate heat of the afternoon programme in this women's 50 backstroke. Hannah Suter, Heart of Midlothian. Well, she's just seen Lexi Waller go 32 point. Has she anything up the sleeve? 33.2 entry. Seen her teammate and probable pal do 32 point. Can she come with the same? Oh, some Summers just falling off the wall there, unfortunately. Losing ground, still to rise. You do have 15 metres available to you. And that was a long underwater section.
She did. She used all of the 15 metres there, but you've got to be careful not to stay down too long and lose speed, you know.
Lose speed and get DQ'd for the distance you've travelled, but it's a strong swim down the left-hand lane rope for the Summer in 4. Hannah Suter touching in 31.89. Well, you see, it is possible.
So looking at those results there, we're looking at the top 2 girls there. So Hannah Suter and Danielle Joyce both making times quick enough to make it back for the B finals tonight. So fantastic swimming there for that there, girls. And also for Danielle Joyce, we've just heard that that's an S15 British record as well. So fantastic swim out this afternoon. Absolutely brilliant swimming. The
multi-categories being mixed in with the able body, and that can often just be the difference that they need. Great swimming. Final heat. Fastest entry time in lane 4, 33.1 was what was left from the rest after the morning heats were sorted. A long underwater section, not giving any advantage in lane 3. Lane 4, that bright green Heart of Midlothian, Kimberly Mackay, just not quite getting the distance off the stroke. She's got the aggression. Coming hard in lane 5, India Dodd of Warnder. Looks as though she's just gonna pull it across. And that white hat in lane 5, she's got the reach, takes the touch, 33.12. 33.17 for Mackay, and just losing it on the last 3-4 metres there. Good finish by Dodd to take the victory, but the times, well, maybe surprising. You can see there 33.12, 33.17 and a 33.54 and another 33 to follow. It shows they're all down at their entry times, there or thereabout. There might be an improvement by a couple of hundreds. But the swims really coming from Dodd and Suter in the 31-point swim. Really good to get into the B final this evening. Good grasping of the opportunity that this provides. we stay at the turning end for another 50 event. Obviously good programming so that there's not too many changes of the pool required. We're moving to the men's 50-meter butterfly afternoon session. 6 heats, and getting underway. We have a heat with all 3 swimmers: Connor Serrell, North Lanark; James Riley, North Lanark; Alistair Weir, North Lanark. It's a club championships here inside the national championships. They're all entered on 30 point. Well, Alistair Weir losing it out on this occasion. James Riley, the 17-year-old. The strokes are rough and ragged here in this first heat. Just shows how hard they're trying. 29.41. He's broken the 30 mark. Well, we've got to congratulate him on the swim.
Yeah, it's a great barrier to dip under, so good swimming there. Obviously tough when there's only 3 of you in the event, but credit to the guys swimming well there.
Yeah, good race, a little bit of personal pride, and I'm sure club rankings at stake, you know.
Yeah.
So heat 2 readying. No swimmer in 7. And again, lane 8 left on his own. And it's Ewan McComish, South Lanark. A good race though, building. Entered on the 30 mark. Surely somebody's got to go through. This looks much stronger and better than the previous 8. Nice finish. Little bit short to the wall from lane 4, but McGregor Kalamov, Fife Performance Squad, takes that heat 29.08 to 29.14. 6 100s in it, but 6 of them managing to get under 30.
That's a great, you know, considering they all came in on 30 points, for them all to drop under on that. Great swimming there.
So the 50s roll off the manufacturing line of Scottish swimming. Heat 3 of 6 in the men's 50 fly. It's a good start. 5, 6 swimmers in a line, long underwater from lane 9. They want to stay flat. You want to get good drive off the legs. Make sure that the shoulders are flexible enough to get you forward to entry. Focus on the finish. Make some decision now about the finish. Some adjustment if necessary so that you can get the head down. But a lot of breathing in that last 3 meters. Passing us, Andrew.
A lot of breathing all the way through there, Drew, like what we'd said earlier.
Because what you had to do was you had to do 10 interviews with different coaches, senior coaches, and they would ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions in each interview room. And when I went into the medley room, I was asked, you know, you've got a swimmer swimming 400 IM, good butterflyer, you know, good technique all round, but butterfly's the strength. How would you coach him to swim the 400 IM? And you just took me right back to that question stay flat, about when you said stay calm on the first 100. Make sure that the shoulders are flexible enough to get you forward.
It's going to be
focus
really
on the finish. Make some decision now about the finish. And we've some got a little gap so in the transmission from Glasgow. We have a hitch in the starting signal. Officials have now sorted it out. The first 3 swimmers in, well, the only 3 swimmers in heat 1 readying themselves. Some decision now about the finish, some adjustment if necessary, so that deliberate to get the head down. Preparation from Zoe McDonald, Mulgai and Bearsden there. 2 or 3 questions. Very sharp to the front of the block, the elbows out, very stylized. You know, you've got it is a 400 individual medley, so you know the start doesn't have to be that
Good
critical.
round, but
Although I remember being in Germany at a meet, and I watched the great Alex Baumann, world record holder, 400 IM in his time from Canada. And if he was swimming short course, and if he did one start, he did 15 starts of the first 50 butterfly. This was in the warm-up. Incredible. He just wanted to get that pace right, you know. So the start was important, and the pace on that was very important. So very interesting to see Zoe McDonald getting herself so ready for that swim. But good on you.
Like you've said all the way through the day, preparation's key, Drew. It's all about making sure that when they get their moment on the blocks, they're ready to go.
Preparation from Zoe McDonald. I think that long gap to their swim has just put a little bit extra excitement into them. Paying the penalty at the end of the 100 fly. It is a 400 individual medley. Oh, relief on the backstroke, eh, Andrew?
I think so. I think so. It's a long way for anybody to swim, but especially when you're 13, 14, and 15 respectively. It's a relief when you get onto that backstroke and you can get some air back into the body. So on the backstroke, really want to look towards the legs kicking up all the way through on this, and seeing the water being dispersed by the feet all the way through. So far they're looking okay at the moment, these girls, but we really like to see them maybe pick up in the second half of this race, really try and take it on.
Yeah, we're coming down to the qualifiers for the championships, but the bottom end of the qualifiers for this event, we're talking 5 minutes 50 or just under. That's the kind of performance, so it's a long time in the water. We've got a 13-year-old Zoe McDonald, a 14-year-old Ellie Neal, and a 15-year-old Lisa Christie. So will age make the difference? A year of experience, or will just the talent tell out? Very low in the water on the back crawl, quite slow tempo in the arms. So there's lots they can pick up from this, lots they can learn from even being in Heat 1 in the afternoon program. And it's all about building forward to the next stage in your progress through the times in your event.
Definitely, and I think even if these girls, if they're staying around to watch later, or if they're going home and then they can watch on the YouTube channel, we've got Hannah Miley who's going to be racing out in this very event tonight, and what better chance to watch somebody who's world class within this event swim out in Tollcross. It's going to be amazing to see her swim, and so much that these younger girls can pick up from the way that she takes that event on.
That's the kind of performance, so it's a long time in the water. Sure she is, the pin-up girl for these young medley swimmers. McDonald just made the 100 fly through to 121. Dropped off on the backstroke. Or will just the talent tell out? You can see a very strong technical side. It's not got the power from Ellie Neal in 3, but she's holding her technique as she gets to the wall. Obviously glad of the short rest there, and then back into the job of work. So the 16-year-old Lisa Christie, perhaps as expected, the Heart of Midlothian swimmer, just getting a nice long reach on her breaststroke. Again, not the most powerful, but good application of what she has available to her.
Can see in the back part of her breaststroke there, the feet are just breaking the water a little bit, and that'll cause slight slipping for the stroke, which means that when you're kicking and your foot comes out, you're going to be kicking more air than you are kicking water, so it's not quite the cleanest kick, so it's maybe something to work on.
Don't tell the officials, Andrew. And then the home leg, McDonald led the first 100, but going to trail the last 100. 3 swimmers, well, entered within a second of each other, but it ain't going to be the way it finishes. Here at the Tollcross International Swim Centre at the 2013 Scottish Gas Championships, these 3 will be separated significantly after their swim. 50 to go for Christie, heading into the wall, still with good strong attack on it, just not got the power can see the legs coming in from Ellie Neal there. Nice white water at the back.
Just breaking the water a little bit.
Glad to get the freestyle, and of course the freestyle tends to have slightly slower first 50 as you come off the first 3/4 of the event and the hard breaststroke, and then it just gets faster and faster and faster as you build to the finish. Not because of the finish, but just the way the body adapts to the easier freestyle. And then the home leg. So Heart of Midlothian then setting this women's 400 IM off. It's a 5:49. Three swimmers entered on a 5:48. Entered within a second of each other, but it ain't going to be the way. Always want to wish the swimmer just to get one side of the PB time or entry time rather than the other. 5:48.8 was her entry time. 5:49.75 the performance time heading into the wall, still with Tollcross. You know, good strong attack on it, just not got the power. You see the legs coming in from Ellie Neal there. Yeah, we have 5 heats. White water at the back. So heat 2 ready. Glad to get the freestyle, and of course the freestyle tends to have slightly slower first 50 as you come off the first 3/4 of the event and the hard breaststroke, and then it just gets faster. No swimmer in 0 or 9, so they're crowding in. Abigail Mason back in action. Jurich back in action. Emma Scully back in action. Katie McIntyre. So definitely good qualifiers on the 50s of their techniques. And now back for more punishment in the 400 IM.
It would seem that way. We're going to really see some strength running through here as they come into this, because there hasn't been a big turnaround time between that 50-meter event and then coming back in for the 400. We really rocketed through those 50s.
Well, what's Ailey McInnes up to from coast, Andrew?
She's setting her stall out here.
Well, of course, we've got Emma Scully at 12, a couple of 13-year-olds in the field. And sometimes it's partly experience, and sometimes it's just the strength that you have relative to the other events. This may be her best technique, and certainly she's just taking this race apart from lane 6 in the 100 fly. About 3 extra strokes there in the wall. Katie McIntyre. So
once again, I think like what you said in the previous heat, I think a lot of these girls will welcome getting onto the backstroke and moving away from that butterfly leg. So now we should see the race open up. We'll hopefully see the backstrokers and then eventually the breaststrokers try and work their way through the field. So although it seems quite open at the moment, things are still quite open within this race, and it could all change before the end.
Emma Scully at 12 from North Ayrshire. Very long levers in lane 4 and already starting to cut down that early lead. Now the first heat went through the fly in 1:21, this heat went through in 1:12, just to give you a comparison of, we've moved now from the 5:48 entries to the 5:44, 5:47s, and they're looking as if they're really about their business. Don't want to train all year or in the half-year program from the short course to here and not be ready for a race. So you can see that the backstrokers have now cut through. Over in 2, Hannah Jurich and Emma Scully, bringing the race back into some kind of interesting form. McInnes still leading, going through in 2:40.2. So backstroke a little bit slow, and often in the early stages of the IM it's the breaststroke that separates them. I find that certainly more on the women's side than the men's, and when you move down to age groupers it's almost inevitable that a good breaststroke will do well in the medley. So what kind of distance will they be training, Andrew, do you think? 12, 15? 13-year-olds for a 400 IM?
Well, for that we'd want to be looking at them doing some kind of high volume sets where they'd be swimming aerobically, so maybe not fast all the time, but really putting some good mileage in. So the weekly meterage, so the meters that they would cover within a week during their swim programs would be getting quite high up into you know, I would guess around maybe 40,000, round about that meters a week, which is a lot of lengths up and down. But still quite low level, just making sure that they're building a really good aerobic base, a really good fitness base, and then hopefully being able to hone on some of the racing skills as we come ready to race the summer season.
Okay, well, that background has done well for Katie McIntyre. We haven't spoken about her in this heat, but she has just sneaked up in lane 8 on the breaststroke, cut through nicely, and gets herself into second place. But in lane 6, Gianna McInnes, Heart of Midlothian, looks to have a little bit of brightness in her. You can see the tempo of the leader there, Emma Scully, on freestyle. The stroke not the prettiest, the tempo quite slow. She's obviously paying for the backstroke effort and the breaststroke effort. Maybe on the last 50 she'll be able to you know, give herself a shake and come back into it. Good attack from lane 6, Gianna McInnes, just moving herself into second place. The close racing has gone, so they've just got to know what kind of pace they're on against their 5:44s and 5:45 entry times. It's 5:30 and counting down in the last 10, so you know, a really good strong head down finish could make a big difference here, and it has. 5:37.5. Emma Scully's back and breast done the damage. Looked a bit ragged in the first 50 of the freestyle, but brought it back on the second 50 as that heat completes. 5:37.52 against an entry time of 5:44.12. That's a nice present to take home. The results are cleared. Over the top start for heat number 3. No Summer in lane 8. Kiara Peters again listed, and obviously out of the 50 and definitely out of the 400 IM. Now we're moving down to 5:35 at the heat 3, lane 4, Megan Laurie of Warrender, and only out to 5:43 in lane 9. Again, that's the way it looks on the entry, that's how they've been placed into the programme, but the swim can often show a big difference.
Yeah, definitely understanding that we're racing long course here, and some of the guys who are racing may not have raced at long course. They may have entered times that are a short course conversion, so they've maybe swam this event in a 25-meter pool, and then they've used a system which can convert that time to what would be a replica of a long course time, and that's how they've gained entry. So for some of these girls, they may have swum it before long course, or this may be, you know, one of the first times that they've done that. So a great opportunity for them to lower that time.
Well, if it's come off a short course, they're in for a surprise. No, they're in for an experience, really. 1:12.8 through. That's close to the best time so far, only half a second. Nice little attack into the backstroke. Over in lane 0 there, Kate Jones. You know, third position, doing well. Nice lift out the water. Can see that the training effect in lane 5. Claire Maloney right against the lane rope there. The Warrender Summer, sorry, the Carnegie Summer, just heading the field. Now we've been getting a sort of 2:40 mark at the halfway stage. Sure, that can be improved. A few backstrokers moving through, making it into an interesting race for second place as they approach the halfway mark, and a couple of swimmers well adrift in the long course experience that Andrew was talking about.
Yeah, Drew, and the interesting one now as we go from the backstroke to breaststroke is seeing how they handle this back to breast turn, whether they choose for a touch and push off, or whether they go for the backstroke flip. As you mentioned earlier on, if they do choose to go from the back to breast flip, it means that it cuts down on the oxygen intake that they can take right as they do that, so that underwater section of that push off on the breaststroke makes it really tough on the lungs, so you'll see some of them really gasping for a breath when they come up on that first stroke.
And the leader not getting the power in the breaststroke, and a much more natural looking breaststroker there in lane 3. Paige Aitchison coming through, and a chance to shine, and already caught the leader at the first 50. And of course the effort on the butterfly and the backstroke for a breaststroker needs them, the first 50 just to get back into their rhythm and get a feel and a touch for it. But they've got to capitalise. If this is their strength, then that's where they have to push. Really got to make the biggest advantage on the strength of that stroke. You can see the kind of low position in lane 5. Claire's very low in the water and just not quite the same tempo. And again, you've got the heart of Midlothian swimmer Paige Aitchison just shortening a little bit at the end of the breaststroke, coming through to challenge for second place there. Swimmer in lane 7, Kirsty Pitt of Perth City, into the freestyle, and a little race then. Change of leader, 100 to go. The last swimmer in lane 9, South Lanark's Megan Smith, on the turn and heading back on the freestyle. So 9, 2, 4, 6. Good battle between 7 and 4, and 1 and 0 and 1 having a nice private battle up there. Kate Jones and Shannon Crawford of Lerwick and Geary respectively. A little battle there. The North District swimmers, I'm sure they'll know each other. And the race for second place, drawing them ever closer to the leader. But I think they're going to run out of pool here, Andrew.
I think so. We've got some good battles though, like you say, finishing off this swim, which is great, just lifting them through that final 100. So eyes up to the clock now to see what we stop the clock on.
.5:31.23 for the winner. Paige Aitchison as we wait on the swimmer in lane 9, Megan Smith of South Lanark, completing her 400 IM, entered on 5:43, goes 5:55, so words will be said, I'm sure, back in the dressing room. Clearing the over-the-top start for the penultimate heat swim from the afternoon programme and the women's 400 IM. Love the discipline, ladies. Good control at the start. Nice long dive and underwater section there in lane 2. Shannon Patterson, West Lothian, just showed the confidence, young swimmer, 15 years of age, getting the maximum distance, not the power, but good technique and underwater section. First at the 50 and 33.12. It's our friend Georgia Callender from Mulgai and Bearsden. Swam well in the backstroke 50. So she's obviously up for it.
Yeah, it seems like a great start to this swim so far. We've got some guys who are really getting involved, really taking it on.
Out there, lane 0, Bethany Brodie, South Lanark. Looks as if she's swimming 100 butterfly, and that's it. She's really putting a lot of effort into this. So let's hope she's got the conditioning and the techniques. If that's not her strength, she's certainly giving this race a little shock. A 1:11 for the 100 fly on the way to the 400 IM. Let's see how she fares. It's a big lead if you take it back to the 10th swimmer who's onto the backstroke. Looking across the pool, my eyes don't catch any, really natural backstrokers. Lane 9 looks quite good. Catherine Swinney from Best. They just look medley swimmers, with a nice solid technique and just working through the backstroke 100. Come off the fly and you're just sometimes so relieved. Your mind goes for a few seconds and you're so relieved at getting onto the back and gulping in that necessary oxygen. You can see there in 3, good challenge from Michelle Hoffin of South Ayrshire on the backstroke, taking over the lead. 50 metres from the halfway point, and she's now picked up the tempo. It was slow at the beginning of the backstroke, but she's now on some kind of topped up tempo under the flags. Counting, checking, onto the strong arm, into the breaststroke. So good backstroke leg from Michelle. You can see that we're in the breaststroke and it's a little bit of a slow tempo. And all apart from that, good starter. Shannon Patterson just not getting the distance, but she's got the tempo, she's got the pace on it. Amazing how the times and the swims just are so different. You just get a different picture altogether, where they're all crowded on 34s out to 43s in an arrowhead, and the race doesn't look anything like that at all.
No, definitely not. That's the great thing about this event. You see so many people's strengths and weaknesses all through the swim that it can really juggle about and be really interesting for you to watch. We're looking at some very different styles of breaststroke being swam again, which is always good to take in. Now the question is, who's got the most left in the tank ready for the freestyle? Who's going to be able to finish really strong on this last 100?
And while we've talked about the all-round competence and technique required for a medley swimmer, do you like to see swimmers do more on their weakness or develop their strength?
I think that's a great debate to bring up. I would always say that you've really got to understand what your weaknesses are and really work hard to strengthen them up. And that's not to say that just because you have a strength to forget about it. Definitely train on keeping it strong, but your weaknesses you really want to try and iron out and get them to be as small and as insignificant as possible. I think a great quote for anybody listening for training is not to practice until you get it right. You need to practice until you can't get it wrong.
Oh well, talking about quotes on practice, you see, they say practice makes perfect. I think it's an incomplete quote. It's practice with feedback might make perfect.
I think you could be right there.
So finishing off then this session, this heat. You can just see the tiredness in the summer. Nice pick up on the front crawl here from lane number 7. Georgia Callender of Mulgai and Bearsden. Nice strong finish there, freestyle. Good stroke technique, bright legs. The hard working Bethany Brodie going to take third place unless there's a An extra surge from the middle lane, Anya Reid. The winning time, 5:35. Remember, previous heat, 5:31. So, you know, again, good swims from heat 3. Paige Atchison, 5:31, and they're all checking to see, even the swimmers standing for the start, looking to see the times, all recorded in the memory and then hopefully sifted out while you focus on your own event about to come up. So Hoffen at 5:35, 5:36.3 was the second place time. Heat 5 then in the afternoon programme, the bottom section of this event, the final swim on the 400 individual medley for women. Times from 5:34 from Ailsa Beck of South Aberdeen out to 5:43 Tammy Park of Stirling in lane number 9. Across the field you've got Megan Bowie from Alford up there in the northeast. Katie Wilson, Aberdeen, Danny Buchanan, North Lanark, Jennifer Dixon from First, Beck, South Aberdeen in 4, McInnes, Lindsay thereof of Coast, Alison Henderson, South Lanark, Ellie Grant from Dundee City Aquatics, Jennifer Ward, North Lanark, and Tammy Park from Stirling. Lane 4 then, the 5:34, Ailsa Beck, perhaps as expected, out there in the lead. Head very steady on the butterfly. The arms recovering very close to the water on this occasion, saving every bit of energy compared to the quite high lift over there in lane 2 by Danny Buchanan, North Lanark. Ailsa Beck, very steady head and stylised backstroke there, Andrew.
Yeah, some very efficient swimming. Yeah, very efficient on the butterfly going through, very composed and very controlled, and then nice to see that same technique being carried through onto the backstroke. So really, really interested to see how this swim progresses.
Now lane 5, Lindsay McInnes in the green hat of Coast from up there in the northeast. Another group from that hotbed of swimming, the Aberdeen and northeast corner. In lane 5, entered on 5:35. Well, the butterfly certainly wasn't her strength. The backstroke, she's not making much headway either. So a lot of work to do in the back half if she's to get with this race.
Yeah, definitely look to suffer through that first 100. So maybe just struggling on this swim today.
Now you can almost see inside the head the backstrokers getting to the last 15 metres and they're already thinking about breaststroke. That's good, providing you don't slow the backstroke down, because the speed of the backstroke can help the switch from back to breast. But if you're thinking about it too much, then you start to slow down, just as you would, you know, when you're crossing the road. You slow down because you're thinking about crossing the road. So it's got to be natural, and that's where the hours of, you know, training and that kind of high, long aerobic set that Andrew was talking about pays dividends, where you really need to keep the momentum going and make things just a natural combination, that rather than a definite change of activity. Now the breaststrokers just starting to cut into the lead a little bit. Hopefully they can, and we'll get a really good race finish on heat 5 of the women's medley this afternoon. Remember, your views are important. We have at Scott Swim Live for following up, so tell your friends. Flickr.com for the photos from the Tollcross Championships. The Scottish Swimming YouTube channel on scottishswimming.com/index/live. And the Twitter for your comments. The hashtag is SGN13Live. Heat 5. Finishing off. The finalists are away getting rest and maybe some massage and loosening off and chilling down and focusing on their finals coming up this evening. And the breaststrokers making it a little bit of a challenge for Ilse Beck. The 14-year-old, 5:34.30, top entry of the afternoon, but she's come back showing good character there, not panicking, and immediately coming back on the freestyle.
Yeah, definitely. Just seeing that Jennifer Dixon was able to swim really well through on that breaststroke leg, and it just gave Ilse a real good lift for this 100 free. And sometimes it's just what you need. You need somebody just to get up on your shoulder, just to be there for you to see them, to get that little race and pick you up, and then it becomes a battle. Then you've got to really start sprinting, and I think that's what's going to help it down this last 50. Hopefully round up with a really good time.
Well, 5:34, she's digging in. The race is really across the pool for second place between lane 3, Jennifer Dixon, and a very strong finishing. Hayley Grant from Dundee City. Really long in the freestyle, good leg action, nice clean stroke, given that the tiredness is the worst it can be at the end. Beck holds her pedigree on 5:31.3, a nice swim. And then the Summers finishing fast, trailing behind the 5:31. Third place, Dixon 5:34, and a 32.8 from the fast finishing Grant. That's a nice time for her as well on the 400 IM. And well, Lindsay McInnes of Coast maybe a little out of sorts at these championships. As the results are confirmed, the afternoon programme, 5:31.3, 5:32.86 second time, and 34.41, and that's the results 1, 2 and 3 for the fifth heat and the end of the swim programme for the afternoon. And all we can do is to look forward to tonight's final. Anything special in your head for tonight, Andrew?
Well, I come from a sprinting background, so I'm going to be very excited for the 100s and the 50s that are going to be raced out tonight, because they're going to be explosive racing. But not to forget that Hannah Miley's going to be in that 400 medley. We've got the fastest heat of the 1500 guys, so a lot of different events to watch out for. So yeah, I'm excited for a good night of racing. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to build towards the finals. Nice that the Summers will have quite a long rest, and you know, be able either to do a little bit of swimming if they need to swim down. And you know, I think you're right, the program is nicely mixed. Distance events, sprint events, Blue Riband 100. Yeah, it's looking good. So nothing special at the moment. Nothing's fired me up in terms of, you know, great expectations or something. But it is day one, and as the training is left behind and the rest starts to come into the body, you know, we know that the meet gets faster. You know, we know it builds up. There's not a meet I've ever been to that doesn't do that, you know. It's just a change from training to racing. So that concludes the second session then of the 12 sessions from the Scottish Gash Nationals at the Tollcross International Swim Centre. We'll be back this evening at 1700 or 5 o'clock, and please join us. Keep up to date with the interviews on Swimming YouTube page. Don't forget you're tweeting at hashtag SGN13Live, or even posting your pictures for the Instagram competition. My thanks to Andrew for the second session. Look forward to him coming with me this evening for the finals. But just for now, take it easy, but do join us at 5 o'clock for the finals. It's the start of the real racing here at the 2013 Championships. Bye for now.
Take a drink at the ocean and treading water there before I drown. Let's dive, I wanna dive to the bottom of the ocean. I took a ride, I wouldn't go there without you. Let's take a ride, we'll take a ride, I wouldn't leave here without you. I am a mountain, I am the sea. You can't take that away from me. I am a mountain, I am the sea. You can't take that away from me. 'Cause you tear us apart with all the things you don't like. You can't understand that I won't leave till we're finished here. And then you'll find
I'm Catherine Granger and I'm a champion in my life, and I back the bid for Glasgow to host the 2018 Youth Olympic Games.
Hi, I'm Robbie Rennick. I'm Commonwealth champion. I'm supporting Glasgow's bid for the 2018 Youth Olympic Games.
I'm Michael Jameson, I'm a champion in my life and I support Glasgow's bid to host the Youth Olympic Games in 2018.
Hi, I'm Neil Fahy, I'm a Paralympic champion, and I'm a champion in my life, and I'm backing Glasgow 2018.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and I'm a champion in my lifetime and I'm supporting the Glasgow 2018 Youth Olympic bid.